All right, this is Pre-Algebra lesson 10.1. Areas of parallelograms. This is the simplest lesson in the history of the world, okay? It's real simple. A parallelogram, you guys know what they look like, right? Is that a parallelogram? Yeah, it is, right? That would be a rectangle. Agreed, that's a rectangle. And so that makes it a parallelogram. What about this? How do you know if it's a parallelogram? What would I do? I would put these little arrows, right? Like I would go something like that, right, to tell you that it's a parallelogram. Okay. I believe in today's lesson, everything you see is assumed to be a parallelogram. Does that make sense? I mean, they're not trying to trick you as to find out whether or not it's a parallelogram. They're telling you they're parallelograms, and so you're just going to figure it out. You're going to find the answer. Okay, here we go. Here's how it works. The area of a parallelogram. Here's a formula. You just need to have it memorized. The area, capital A means area. Area of a parallelogram is base times the height. The base times the height. Now listen, that's real simple in a square or a rectangle because whatever it's sitting on, let's say this is 8 inches and this is 4 inches. This is really tough. Ready? What is the base? 8. What's the height? 4. 8 times 4 is 32. So you would say the area of that parallelogram is 32 inches. Is that all you'd say? If you put that, I mark it wrong. It's got to be squared inches, right? You put the little exponent of 2 up there. That's squared inches. Because what it means, listen, you know this. I know you've done this. And so you know that area is talking about how many blocks, right? How many blocks there are. How many 1 by 1 inch or 1 by 1 foot blocks there are. That's, if I'm asking you how much area is, what's the area of this classroom, I'm saying how much carpet do we need to put on the floor. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you go, how do you measure carpet? Well, it's how many 1 by 1 foot blocks, squares do I put down. Anyway, here's the deal. This is the only part that's tricky. On a parallelogram, and I'm going to rewrite this so that it's much neater looking. Okay, on a parallelogram, they trick you a little bit in that they may go like this. They may say this is 8 and this is 4. And I want to know, what is the area of this? The answer is you don't know. You have no idea. That 4 is not telling you the height of this parallelogram. That 4 is the length of that side. But if you were to actually take this and lean it up, it's actually way up here. Does that make sense? You see what I'm talking about? So that is not the height. That 4 is not the height. They will tell you the height. They may go like this and put it inside here. And they'll always, whenever they're telling you the height, they'll always give you a 90-degree angle to let you know that that's the height, right? The height is going to be a perpendicular line. It's going to have that. And that might be 3. So we'll call these meters, meters, meters. And so then, what does this 4 have to do with the area of this parallelogram? That 4 has nothing to do with the area. It's the base times the height, which is 3. So this would be the area equals 24 squared meters, not inches, meters. Make sense? Now, what they might also do is they may also go like this for you. Instead of it being inside there, they may go like this and tell you that that's 3 meters. Which is fine. The height of the object does not need to be shown inside the object. It can be shown outside the object. Does that make sense? Okay. You've done this. This is nothing new. The other tricky thing that they do is sometimes they'll go like this. Here's my parallelogram. And this will be 3 yards. And this will be 4 feet. And they're going to want to know what is the area. If you are not paying attention, you'll go, oh, that's 12 squared yards. Or you'll say that's 12 squared feet. And that is not true. The first thing you have to do is you need to get them to be the same unit of measure, right? They need to be the same. I don't care which one it is. If you want to turn this into 1 1/3 yards, which is true, you can. Is that probably the easiest? Do most people like to multiply fractions? No. So then, as a general rule, I'll tell you now, the general rule is you break it down to the smaller unit. That way, you're not going to shrink that into 1 1/3 yards. You're going to turn this 3 yards into 12. It is 9 feet. 9 feet. Now you go 4 feet times 9 feet is 36 squared feet. Does that make sense? Which is totally legal. Anybody have any idea how many square yards is 36 square feet? Let's look at this. Let's grab, I need to do this better. Hold on. Well, let's do this. Let me show you this. 1 squared yard is how many square feet? 1 square yard. If this is 1 yard, it's the same thing as 3 feet. So then you agree that 1 yard is 3 feet, right? So this is 3 feet. This is 3 feet, which is 1 yard, that means this is 1 squared yard, right? So 1 squared yard has how many square feet? And you're looking at not 3. How many 1 squared yard, right? If this is 1 yard squared, how many square feet is it?
9.
How many square feet is it, Jade? If I have a yard here, right? Forget this. If I have one big thing and I tell you this is 1 yard, how big is a yard? Show me with your hands. Jade, a yardstick, right? Here. So look, this is 1 yard. You agree this is 1 square yard? And I asked you how many of these, how many squared feet is it? Well, there's going to be more than one, right? So how many? 3. It wouldn't be 3. Look, do you agree that that's what it would look like? Do you agree that's what it would look like? Right? So then how many square feet are in there? 9. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Let me do this. What if I gave you this and said, here is 1. This is 1 foot squared. And I want you to tell me how many squared inches is that. Don't say it out loud. I want you to tell me how many squared inches is that. Do not say it out loud. I want you to think about it, write it down. If that's 1 square foot, right? I want to know how many squared inches. You should be able to do that in your head. Easily. Do you have an answer written down, Brad?
Not really.
I want you to write it. When we start math class, you should have paper out, pencil out. Lauren, paper. I want you to write it. Do you have an answer, Gigi? Why not? Gigi, in order for this to be 1 square foot, what is true about the sides? What do they have to be? If this is 1 square foot, what do the sides have to be? 1 foot. This is a 1 foot, and this is 1 foot. Do you agree with that? Okay. So then, if I want to know how many inches it is, well, you tell me. You're going to figure this out. What do I do? If I want to know how many inches it is, what do I have to do? This same exact object. I want to know how many inches. How many squared inches? What do I do? This is 1 foot. Right? So, do you have a ruler? Pull it out. All the way. Awesome. It's 1 foot, right? Isn't that a foot? Awesome. What can I do? I want to know how many squared inches it is. I want to know how many of these little tiny guys, how many of those there are. So what is the deal? 12 what? 12 inches what? No. Look, I'm confused. If this is 1 foot, that's because, look, I guess I'm confused here. That means that from here to here is how big? 1 foot, right? So, but I don't care about feet right now. I'm not asking that. I know this is 1 square foot. I want to know how many squared inches there are. I want to know how many little inches there are. How many 1 inch? How many little guys there are? How would I figure that out? What would I do? How do we get this to be 1 squared foot? How did that happen? What is 1 foot times 1 foot? Isn't that how we got, that's how this is, 1 foot, 1 square foot? Okay, well then how do I find out how many square inches there are? Listen, we took this side and we multiplied it by this side, right? Isn't that what we did? Isn't that how we got this is 1 squared foot? We took this side, the base, and we multiplied it by the height. Isn't that what we did? Okay. We know this is 1 foot and this is 1 foot. And 1 foot times 1 foot is 1 squared foot, because 1 times 1 is 1. How would we do this with inches then, with this same exact object? Come on, you can do this, Gigi. What is it? Gigi, I want to know how many inches it is. Jade, what would I do? Instead of 1 foot here, you've got your ruler, right? Instead of 1 foot, what do I put? 12 inches. And how long is this here? Oh, that's also 12 inches. And so if I want to know how many squared inches it is, what would I do? Multiply what? 12 times 12 is? Right? 144 square inches. The only thing that you may have to do, like I said, is if they give you an ugly one, they tell you that this thing here, they go like this, and they tell you this is, 1 foot, and they tell you that this is 18 inches. I need to make that a lot nicer. Okay. And they ask you to tell me the area of this. What are you going to do? Why would you make it to inches? Why not feet? What's the rule? I just gave you kind of the basic rule. You want to break it into the smaller unit, right? So since here's inches and there's feet, which one do I need to move? I need to change the feet to inches. 1 foot is how many inches? 12. So this is now 12 inches. So how do I find the squared inches or the area in this? 12 times 18 inches squared. What? Listen, okay, I'll give you a square. This is 4 yards, and this is 12 feet. Right? What do I do? I turn the yards into feet, so instead of how many 4 yards is, that's 12 feet, so you go 12 times 12 is 144 square feet. That one that I was just asking you to, so you understand, you know what I'm saying? That may not come up, I just was asking you so you'd understand. Okay, there's really nothing else to do here. I'll give you your homework. That would be page 524, 1 through 11, all, no. We're going to go 1 through 15 all. And yes, a few of these answers are excessively big.